but it's time to get into picks and bans again. Rival with the first pick option this time around. They had it last time too. I wonder if they'll change things up in picks and bans, or would you leave it the same?
I'd leave it the same. What happened to Team Rival had nothing to do with picks or bans. It was gameplay that just sort of spiraled out of control, I think.
Well, they changed something at the start with the Terror. They're a little bit concerned about Emilzi's Terror now, which rightfully so. If you get behind you've got their ultimate going off, and just getting them away from the danger causes them a lot more problems. Obey Alliance will ban the Fafnir yet again against Callus.
That's another thing. Talking about, remember when we saw the Gold Fury in last game, and they sort of waterfalled into that red area region? Emilzi ultimate plus the Talaria boots of Captain Twig. There's no way you're outrunning that Naja.
Gonna be a rough issue to try and stop Naja chasing you down like that. I wonder if they'll ban Naja, but I don't really think Naja's ban worthy, let's be honest.
No, what Captain Twig did in that game was completely God independent, which was why it was so nice. I highlighted the body block in the first kill, and then the secondary kill was just a stun. And a lot of characters can pull that off. It was just proper positioning and proper timing of the attacks that allowed Captain Twig to catapult his team.
Once again, Obey will focus out Callus with the Ares and Fafnir bans. Rival drafted Osiris last time, and it was the Osiris that got in trouble, but I don't think it was for the laning phase portion, that's for sure. It was the jungle start more than anything else.
And again, I don't think Team Rival's solo laner Deathwalker got in trouble because of the Osiris pick. I think he got in trouble because of his positioning. Even still, Rival changed it up. And
Raven can flex their solo lane or jungle now. We've seen a couple of different variations. I actually feel from what I've seen from Raven this split, I thought Raven in the solo lane works out better than the jungle version.
It depends. They're very different mentalities.
Sure.
Raven in the jungle is almost kind of playing baby Thanatos, where he's looking to just murder you at level 1 with that Sunder combination. Root, hands, hope they die. And then later on, he turns into a, hands.
You've been out.
Hands.
You've been out partying last night,
hanging out with Toli.
Yeah, more than likely. Ho Yi for Obey will be their first pick. After Kernanos being banned out, so Nataraxi go with that.
I thought you went Toli! But you went Ho Yi!
No, that's save for the weekend.
We got to holler that at the weekend.
We're going to have to.
Athena's going to help out, though.
So Athena with a little bit more global mobility. We've not seen too much of her. She keeps flexing in and out more than anything else.
Athena, for me, Athena's just a solid stay point of support play. You'll have these characters that pressure is more important, damage is more important, safety is more important. But Athena does kind of everything, and she'll always be a choice for players to fall back on.
Really surprised by the get pickup against instead of maybe a Ganesh here. Rival looked to ban that one away earlier on. And I think Ganesh into Athena is actually really solid because she dashes in and then she sits there because she can't do anything because silence.
That's what I was going to bring up. The Geb with the shield off of the taunt. I like the interaction there. But the Morgan.
Oh, well, I like that just to try and take it away from Obey too, take that into account. Because it kind of takes the option off the table from an Obey Alliance where maybe Rival want to draft Serket. Just maybe, because the one thing you don't want to have pretty prime is Serket from what I've experienced of seeing his Morgan.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. We know that Obey won't because of the Naja. Again, like the win last game wasn't because of the selection of Naja, but it's one of Captain Twig's go-to characters. No reason not to.
It's the early game from Naja that's just so strong with those ring bounces, especially because of an addition. I know ring bounce now, it's a little bit more damage, which means a bluestone, if you've got it, is ticking away a little bit more too.
For me, it's not even about the damage, it's the slow into the stun at level 2. When you have both a slow and a stun at level 2, nobody's escaping. It makes those early game kills a lot easier. I know I said that last game the early game kills was more about positioning and timing, but Naja does have the capability to do that to virtually anybody.
Well, Rama is banned away by Obey Alliance, and Rival have Osiris banned out, so they're a little bit more dominant in the solo lane potentially here, Rival. Athena can flex that solo lane though, which we've not mentioned just yet.
Very, very true. I would say it's more of a Deathwalker than a Maniac play, but I feel like I have seen Maniac done it before. At the end of the day, I do think Athena will wind up in the hands of the support.
Gets a little bit more interesting, though, with that Sobek ban, because that kind of tells me Obey think that we could see Sobek solo and we'll see... No, oh, maybe solo Geb, you're right. I didn't think about that one.
Which, it's
even
funny
even though it's Deathwalker, it's been done once.
It's funny that we say that with a straight face. It's been done once. I think we saw it in the console league. I know we've seen it a second time. But the solo Geb is a Deathwalker special. It works. Basically, here's the problem with it, though. It's early game. It's mid game, really. You Sunder, you hit him with the carpet flip, you hit him with the ultimate for % damage.
Carpet flip.
Die.
I've never heard of it called that. That's,
So basically, Geb one strict ponies you, and then late game, he doesn't have that ability. So if Team Rival are going to go Geb solo, they got to look for the mid game.
Well, Vulcan locked in. Pretty Prime's one of Pretty Prime's go-tos. Cupid potentially again from Vote this time round. We didn't get to see much action from it last game, so I can't really talk about the play style of it because it was over in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Cupid, I think he's just a strong character, has really big team fight implication. Chiron is an interesting choice here.
I'm not so sure if it will be Chiron. Surprising, because a lot of people have just been talking about Chiron in the scene just lately, about we don't really see him too much, and now he's being locked in for Rival. Interesting.
Chiron's an interesting choice. We're going to see the Bologna, which means likely the Raven jungle.
Is it with the Chiron and the Morrigan combo of double snipes potentially here?
It's very possible.
I wouldn't normally see that, but like those long-range snipes can be quite useful for both of them to be able to utilize in the team fights.
Yeah, it's really funny how Solo Gab have tossed us for a turn. I really wouldn't be surprised to see Kalas play support Raven, but I think it's going to be a much more traditional approach. Gab support, Raven jungle, Bologna solo.
And Sun Wukong more than likely for the solo here for Maniac. After he realizes Bologna, he's more than expecting to have to go against this, so picks up Sun Wukong, who, for me, I think he's the most stable in that solo lane for being able to deal with any matchup and just survive, and that's kind of his job.
Exactly. That's why we see Sun Wukong picked up more and more, especially with the change to Death Toll. But I really want to give a round of applause to Team Rival right here. This was a fantastic draft by them, using that ambiguity of Deathwalker's eclectic god pool to see Geb up there and say, is he going solo?
Yeah.
And Maniac could not pick until the last phase, which that saving the last pick for your solo laner isn't exactly rocket science, but I just really liked how Team Rival used their team's tendencies to throw everybody for a loop.
Now, I do like what Obey's doing here, because they did this game 1-2 where they sent in a couple more people mid to cause some problems. As the ring toss comes out, it only really focuses on the minions, so it's wave clear. But I love that they had their duo lane sat on the left-hand side jungle in case we saw the Deathwalker solo lane rotation.
Yeah, the wraparound has become so prevalent. We've actually seen some teams fight it by sending 4-5 players in a straight line and just walking up as if they're doing a search and rescue sweep. And that prevents anybody from really getting the surprise play. But since then, we just see the duo lane come over.
Well, this has worked out well for Rival at the start. As you can see, Deathwalker just stripped away the babies at the blue buff, and the Elementals all went the way of Rival too.
He's all alone.
Deathwalker's a little bit greedy going for this level 1 play with his shield up, but no one's really helping out Captain Twig now, who's still been forced under his tier 2. Pretty Prime turns up, but as a Vulcan at level 1, there's not a whole lot he can do either, apart from eat a hammer to the back of his noggin.
Listen, Deathwalker's mad about last game. He died 2 times, 3 times in 1 minute. Definitely.
Give me Bologna.
Yep.
That's what it was. And you can see that he's trying to have his wicked way right now with Maniac in that solo lane. So the pressure so far has worked out well for Rival. They didn't steal any buffs though. As I said, babies, 1 hit from Death, but big old Bracy to the rescue, and in comes Kalas.
Very important play. Kalas is going to get the knockout and the rollout. 1 kill for Team Rival.
Worked out so well. Kalas timed that to perfection too, because I'm pretty sure that rollout was due to end any moment. But connects it, and it's one of those risky plays you do as a game, because sometimes you can put them to a rescue situation by knocking them away, but just enough damage to execute and pick up the kill. And giving a Geb 400 gold in the early game isn't the worst thing in the world.
No, not at all. You know, you're just catapulting your support into his auras a little bit quicker.
So I do want to talk to you a little bit about the duo lane right now. Ataraxi's starting off with Bumba's Mask. He did it last game on the Kernanos too. Is this because he's expected to be more alone in this lane?
Yeah, I mean, Emilio's just not going to show up whatsoever. It's going to be Ataraxia versus the world, and we've seen more and more this duo lane turn into the solo lane.
We have.
Just Hunter v Hunter. We've seen the mid laners and the solo laners pick up the Bumba's Mask. Same idea. When he dips into the jungle to pick up his purple buff by himself, he's going to get that sustain.
And the sustain on the mana too is going to be quite helpful to keep him laning for as long as possible. Up against Vote, who has some natural sustain in his kit too. We don't see Chiron too much, but his abilities do give him some healing, or at least a teammate some healing.
Yeah, he's got the sustain. He also has the cleanse. So when you look at Team Rival, they have 2 separate cleanses for Emilio's taunt. So Pretty Prime and Captain Twig might not have such an easy time aiming their ultimates as they had planned.
Never really think about the cleanse because it doesn't come into use too often, but up against an Athena, maybe that's one of the reasons we see this Chiron drafted.
That's why I think it was drafted.
Twig is in trouble in the jungle. He was looking to just farm his own blue buff, but Rival like, you know what? We are Raven and Bologna against the Najjar. You'll have as much fun as you want. We're still going to kill you.
Listen, this is the stark difference between game number 1 and game number 2. Team Rival is absolutely a contender. It was a fluke. Obey played it flawlessly. You can't play flawlessly every time, and the opponent isn't going to play into your hand every time. Team Rival, completely different game from game number 1, and Captain Twig just got reminded of it, down 2 kills already at 3 minutes.
And that's exactly the same sort of situation we saw from the jungler for Rival last game, Ice Baby. Not because he fell down a couple of times in kills, because his solo laner did, and he had his jungle stripped. And I think Rival's game plan will be very similar to what Obey had last time round. Keeping on the boot options coming through, we see jungle Ice Baby going for a reinforced Greaves this game. So he's just looking to be tanky more than damage dealing.
Yeah, I mean, that's Robin, right? The damage is going to come. Not even, like I said, we usually see the Sunder, and you're looking to be sort of like that early game Thanatos. Completely different style here for Team Rival. Their Robin here is going to be less much like a Thanatos and more like those jungle Athenas of yesteryear, where he'll be able to get some kills by way of support early on, but really, he's just there to be another frontliner.
Oracle's being looked at by Obey now, but a rotation coming from Rival as a blink hit from Callus is good. Hits 2 and a good knock up on Twig, brings him down for the 3rd time. Where's your bracer of undoing, Twig? You tell you what, sometimes you need beads, I swear. I mean, brace is good, but it's not that good.
When opportunity knocks, run right through the door. Callus didn't, that was not planned whatsoever. Callus sees 2 targets, blink, Kata, see you later.
I was just going to mention the fact that he started blink on Geb. It's something we never used to see until the 2nd relic, but as time's gone on, it's changed.
Love the change there. Pretty Prime needs a change here. Help from Emilzy might not be enough.
Not going to be enough for a kill just yet. Ice still coming in, avoids a lot of the damage as Wolfie comes in now. The Morrigan gets a kill onto Prime, and now they're looking to escape because Maniac's on his way.
Love the change from Wolfie, making sure to go for the front line. Trouble for the jungler. Ice Baby gonna fall here, but Maniac can't find it thanks to the shield from Callus.
The shield is now down, and Maniac dives in with Twig, Sashin, and the Jingu Bang gets a kill for Obey. Deathwalker, though, still in the fight on the backside, trying to get away, but I don't think he's got much time to live. Can he at least trade it out? No is the answer. Maniac gets another kill, 2 the way of Obey.
That's the play you have to make. Surrounded, no chance out. Listen, that bludgeon almost got the kill. I don't count almosts, but I'll tip my hat.
Well, that's a nice little interesting fight, because that was Rival committing under the Tier 1 tower. If you think about it, they dived between Tier 1 Tier 2.
That's the nice thing about this Team Rival composition, especially with the Morgan. Deathwalker, Ice Baby, Callus, and Wolfie can all tower dive at 4 minutes. It's insane.
This feels like it's just all about the pressure that these teams keep. As soon as they've got a slight lead now, they're all committing. They're like, listen, we have the lead. We need to keep this lead. And the way we do that is continue to punish them every time we see them. And Paul Twiggs had that happen to him 3 times now.
Well, that's what Obey did in game number 1, and Team Rival said, listen, we can play that game too. And it's a very oppressive way of playing. Obey Alliance were the authoritarian force in game number 1, and Team Rival here kind of doing the same thing, just taking a page out of Obey's book. And if you look at the history of Team Rival, they're creative, they have their own identity, but they can absolutely play your game. I really like that.
Talk about creativity, their item choices most of the time can be quite suspect, but as time's gone on, we've seen more and more pros kind of follow suit in some of their item or even god selections. Not necessarily we're going to see Geb solo every game, but Bellona came back on the scene because Deathwalker was the one that was like, hey, I'm going to pick this, and it's still good.
And not only just the choice, but the itemization, like you mentioned, the bridge item into the Mystical Mail. Totally something from Deathwalker.
Callus and a good Cataclysm too. Ice Baby and Wolfie combined to take Pretty Prime's life again. And then Millsy just can watch. There's nothing he can do. Even with a taunt, he couldn't rescue him.
Wolfie right there showing both sides of the Morrigan. The last sequence we watched, he turns into the... He uses his quick thinking to turn into the jungler to look for the tower dive. This time around, he knows he has 2 support players, so he just sticks to the Morgan. Players are like a good old mage.
Eagles rallied, not good enough for Maniac, who just slips by. Twig doesn't want to continue the chase knowing that's down, but oh my, that was close, Maniac.
Oh, that was one hit. One hit.
One hit, but that's all you need sometimes. That's all you need. As long as you got a little bit of health left, that's the main thing.
It's really important. I mean, just barely avoiding that one hit, getting high in the cloud, making sure to avoid all the damage and get that extra life. That's one of the reasons Sun Wukong is so annoying. That was a successful gank, and Maniac just resets.
My best times played Smite sometimes are the ones where I've just taken that one hit and survived. It's been the main thing. 6-2, 7.5 minutes in this game, though. Gold Fury still hasn't fallen down just yet, but it's a good 2K lead for Rival. It's not as big as what Obey had at this stage, though, and that's why I think we won't see the surrender at 10-minute mark this time round.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, that like I said, that play out of Obey, despite the fact both team being good, etc., right? That is a fluke.
That's one of those games where you say matchmaking please and you tweet about it and complain about high-res's matchmaking system. But then game 2, you still re-queue and you get back to it, and it's not so bad.
Well, it's just the perfect storm, the perfect constellation all lines up where everything winds up just being... Obey make the play, and everything that Team Rival needed to do or not do is exactly how it fell into place.
Well, you mentioned constellations there. We've got Chiron in the dual lane right now, so I'm going to segue towards that. He's going Transcendence. Vote's going Transcendence here, where you've seen a lot of the Hunters, just like Ataraxia is now, going for the Shifters instead, which gives you that power you're after. I
like the Transcendence as well. Keeps his mana up, which is very important because Chiron really wants to spam those. Also will bring him the power. Curious to see if we'll see both is the question.
That's a good question. That's a really good point. I never thought
about a ton of power, man.
Trans and Shifters together could be interesting.
It's the longest build in the world, but it's a ton of power.
And that's one of the things, like, if you just go for raw power and maybe with the penetration too, that could work out. We'll see where Vote goes, because he's still a little bit of gold away from getting this Transcendence stacking, first of all, before he can even look towards Shifters.
Yeah, it's one of those ideas when you look at Chiron, he can afford to go extra power in lieu of attack speed, because he doesn't have any. It's not really what he's about. He's looking to hit you with the abilities.
Yeah. He's very similar to, in a weird way, Neith, right? Neith's very ability-based, which is focused on. Chiron, the same sort of suit, I'd say. Probably a little bit more stronger in terms of the auto-attack ability compared to a Neith, but slightly ability-based. More focused on
the hunters that I love to see new Crusher on, essentially, basically, right? A little bit of attack speed, but when you hit him with the basic, you're going to lower your cooldown. I really like that item on Chiron specifically because of Masterful Shot, but very curious to see where Vote goes. Right now, very standard build. We're talking experimental, but he's going
I'm actually interested to see if we see that Shifters, because that could be a good call, especially if he goes with the full pen, as we were saying.
Oh, yeah.
But the experience difference between the teams, you can see it's all Rivals' way. Now, just looking at the list, you can see it's just a level lead for everybody. It's not a huge lead, but a level adds up. It means those relics are online a little bit sooner, which could spell the difference in the next team fight.
And again, sort of like we were talking about in the picks and bans phase, Team Rival have a very mid-game heavy composition here. The Chiron, the Ice Baby, Deathwalker, and the Bologna, Wolfie turning into all of those characters, even some of the mid-game characters across the way like Sun Wukong or Naja. Those options, Team Rival are going to really hit their stride in a couple of minutes. And
Callus, you can actually see the difference in how the support's playstyle changes based off the state of the game. Callus is actually behind a Milsey because his team's winning, and he's trying to force more fights for his team, and, which means he's missing out on farm. And you can see Thebes is now online for a Milsey because he's just been farming more often as Callus has been looking for ganks.
Yeah, we say Callus' name every 2 minutes, and Milsey's been really quiet, but quietly just in his room grinding.
And at the same time, you just saw a pretty prime return to base there. He's picked up a Doom Orb, so those stacks are going to start coming through. A little bit more delayed than usual because he invested in his boots first. But I think that's more for the fact that his team were behind and he needed that mobility.
Exactly. Yeah, he needs to get out of jail a little bit more often. They were obviously tower diving him early, so the early acquisition of the Doom Orb wouldn't really help because he was just dying over and over again. Now, as we hit minute 11, excuse me, he gets more rotation from support, etc. A little bit more help.
Well, it's a bit of an awkward moment now because all the jungle is down currently, apart from Portal Demon and Gold Fury, but with Obey having the Oracles, there's no reason Rival could even look to invest some quality time into that at the moment without a quick rotation coming out from Obey.
I love watching Maniac and Deathwalker go toe-to-toe. Maniac always going to get that interrupt, but Deathwalker going for it every time.
Old school versus new school, too. That's a kind of cool thing, you know? It's like you've got the original boy Maniac who all the way back before the Pro League even existed, and Deathwalker, a guy who's not even been around that long, and they're going toe-to-toe, and it's even.
And both have this oddly, I used to call it the NA mentality, but I think Europe has taken it over. We're just like, the Divios effect, the Omega effect. I'm a big tanky warrior. Hear me roar. Watch out. I'm going to walk in your general direction, and you're going to be scared about it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Omega, Devio, Cyclone Spin. You've also got Baskin on that list. When you think about all the solo laners that used to be beasts back then.
See, Cyclone and Baskin were always a little bit more crafty, a little bit more tricky. Omega, Devios, and these two.
I'd agree with Cyclone. I wouldn't agree with Baskin so much. Baskin was the one that would run at you the whole time.
He was sort of the bridge between those two, right?
Well, now that the Oracles has gone down, Rival think they can do the Gold Fury. Teleport coming through, but cancelled out. Nice Cataclysm from Callus, very early. He gets Sash to prevent the knockup. The knockup still comes through. Gold Fury's already gone to Rival, though, but Twig's here to try and respond.
Callus hits the ultimate early just to zone out, finds the rollout, not going to be caught either. Team Rival could be in trouble. Deathwalker specifically, Obey on the chase. There's the stun from Naja.
Eagles rally, and he's going to Eagles rally in place. Cataclysm out from Wolfie this time round. He gets a kill with a Geb, and in goes Vote. He's chasing down, running the backline for Prime and Ataraxia. Maniac causing distraction for Callus still, as the Horsey and the man with the 1,000 fists are trying to the carries. Maniac's still alive.
Maniac finds the see you later kill right before he falls to the hand of Vote. 3-for-1 exchange in Obey's demise Team Rival's direction.
Yo, listen, I've got an idea after. You ready? What if we draft Geb, but we have 2 Gebs?
That's the
what
thing
about
right
having
there.
2 Gebs?
Oh, Raxi is going to get the kill here.
It
nice
should be a free one. This is Deathwalker hanging around too long, although Atraxi's getting low. Votes in backup here. Don't forget, Vote will give a bit more sustain with those abilities too. And Deathwalker's bludgeon will bring him down, and Millsy can only watch as his teammate falls. There's nothing worse as a support, but he still is going because he's got Prime and Twig on the way, and Deathwalker can get baited again.
Even if he, I don't know, he's level 14. Deathwalker's just going to crush him, Millsy.
He is at a lower mana, I should say. I mean, he's still got Death's Toll, so he can sustain off those minions.
A big deal, yeah.
And that's actually quite important. But 10-3, that team fight overall ends up going 4-1, I believe, in the standings for Rival, based off the continuation of the fight after the Gold Fury went down anyway.
Playing against the Morrigan requires so many new thought processes.
Oh, yeah.
When you're playing against a team, not just the Geb, but the support has Cataclysm, Wrath of Terra, whatever the support setup man ultimate is, right? When you're playing that as a player in the mindset on the battlefield, all right, the Geb ult is down. You know the major disruption is gone in your mind. Wolfie can do it again. Obey Alliance, listen, this is me playing off the cuff, and my apologies if I have this incorrect. I don't think Obey expected the second kata.
Well, I don't know. I don't think anyone really would. Who would expect a second kata?
You're so conditioned as a player, it happened, it's over.
But also you'd expect a Morrigan to potentially turn into more damage. Exactly. Not survivability, and Captain Twig has no survivability. Vote just deleted him with the snipe at the end of that. Ice and Wolfie on zoning duty, and you can see Wolfie has his ultimate available again. Keep an eye on who the heck he's going to turn into next, because it's going to be a bit of a rodeo there. But Rival, get the Portal Demon 2, pick up Twig, and look to pressure mid.
Here comes Kalas looking for the rollout, decides not to opt for the aggressive play, and Wolfie has been such a fantastic mid laner to watch.
I think Wolfie's been in his stride for a while. He's like a mini Pretty Prime. And this is going to sound really mean, right? Wolfie, you're going to know this too. Your budget Pretty Prime, because he basically plays the same God pool the whole time. Ataraxia, though, is not happy about how this game's going, so he's going to all-in Vote with the support of Athena, but guess what? Vote's got an Athena of his own.
That's what I was going to mention. This is what I was going to mention about Wolfie. Wolfie is a solo laner's mid laner. Okay, you mentioned you call him kind of mini Pretty Prime because he has those plays, but I feel like Wolfie has recently become more. Deathwalker's the star now, and Wolfie is saying, all right, you know what? I'll play the Isis. I'll be that sort of Swiss Army knife that our team needs. Watching him play the Morrigan, you know who he's turned into today? Ravin, Geb, and Athena.
I mean, me calling him budget Prime, I don't think that's offensive at all, because Prime's an amazing player. Called a version of Prime, that's great. The God pulls are similar, and I think the one thing I want to mention about Morrigan specifically is this God's been out since January. And as time goes on, I knew this God will take a long time for people to really learn, get control of, but eventually...
And we're still not there.
And we're in June. We're in June, and this God came out in January, right? And it's June now. We see Zeros and Prime have pretty much got it on lockdown. Wolfie's joining the fray. Everyone's starting to catch up with this, and I don't think it'll be like August until we see the best game of Morrigan we've ever seen, but we're getting there.
It's just one of these fun things in games that break the rules. It breaks the rules of the game. There's only supposed to be one Geb ultimate, and then all of a sudden there are 2, right? And that, like I said, you're so conditioned as a player to expect a certain amount of stuff. When you get hit with 2 Circuit ultimates or 2 damage ultimates, there's 1,000 carries on a battlefield at once. But when there's that one disrupting force, and it becomes 2, that breaks all the condition you've learned over the years.
Fair No Evil is the craziest thing to see in a fight. When you get hit by one Fair No Evil and then another one, you're like, wait a second, he's hacking. And you're like, oh wait, there was a Morrigan. Damn it. Red buff being taken here by Rival. Going to be given over to Vote on the ability-based Hunter. Who went, for you guys at home, Transcendence into Chins, no shifters, although maybe... What? You're pulling a face about it. You don't like it?
I don't like that play at all.
Why not?
They are 2 different schools of thought. 2 completely different schools of thought. Transcendence does not help Chinsai. Chinsai helps Transcendence very little. Transcendence is built with extra power, with abilities in mind, and the Chinsai does more damage based off of more basic attacks you're dishing out. These 2 items do not agree with each other.
But it does it 50-50 his playstyle then? So he's not just ability-based Hunter now, he's also an auto-attack Hunter. He's making the trade there, maybe?
I would have rather seen a raw attack speed item give me the Executioner or something to lead into the Chins. What I think was... I don't know, man. It's not a build that agrees with itself.
Gotcha. He's kind of splitting the difference of what your build should be. Callus setting things up on this left-hand side for Rival. Now you can see Emilzy and Ataraxia having to be very respectful as Tier 1 tower on the right did fall down. We saw Rival take that one. And now Deathwalker's making this rotation. It looks like Rival want to play the tower game here. Yeah,
Wolfie's here tossing out some mage abilities, and the tower is going to stand because 4 players from Obey going to play defense over here.
Big teleport coming out from Maniac there very early. The Gold Fury is available, though, so it's not the worst decision in the world, especially with his tower being down and he's just evened up that wave on the right-hand side. It will force Deathwalker to maybe make a decision here, but he hasn't got teleport either, so we could see the dance of the solo lanes a little while on this left-hand side of the map.
Yeah, Deathwalker came right up to the Gold Fury, testing for wards. Right now, Ice Ice Baby doesn't need wards to see Captain Twig.
But Wolfie's in trouble because Maniac's on him. He's forced to turn into Athena, taunting onto Twig. Twig taking a lot of damage, and Twig will return with the ultimate. Time in the sky as Baby goes to the back, but here comes Prime.
Not gonna hit anybody. Ice Ice Baby finds the flip kick, but a little bit too early. Nice knockup from Prime, and while Maniac will greet Ice Ice Baby on the back end, doesn't have enough damage to put him in the ground.
And everybody's gonna be able to limp away. Nobody has died in this fight. Ice Ice Baby, a couple of hits. Wolfie's a couple of hits, but Emilzy's taunt only hits Callus. And Callus will live as the Jingu Bang from Maniac misses. Obey with an advantage, though. They can head to the Gold Fury here, I feel.
Exactly. Obey chasing that far, whether or not they get the kill is irrelevant. They're looking to bring the HP bars down as low as possible so that they can get this Gold Fury, hopefully, before Obey is healthy enough to fight into it.
Well, this will be an even game if they do get this Gold Fury, because the lead isn't that big right now. Callus does not have his ult, neither does Vote. So it's all about zone duty from Obey. In they go. Gold Fury goes to Rival. Vote stolen away, and Obey will not be happy about that. They'll be looking back at that replay going, what went wrong? How did they get in there?
They got in there because Vote used his beads at the proper time and understood the exact timing of training exercise. That's another bonus that you have playing an oddball god. The fact that the one is going to blow up exactly when he planned it. The enemy, oh man, couldn't drag the objective out of there in time.
Well, I'm looking at Vote's build after he stole that Gold Fury too. He went straight back to base and picked up the Crusher. Looking a little bit more happy about that one after.
Yes, the Crusher. Now this build, you were talking.
Making sense now.
You were talking about the Chinsai splitting the difference. Chinsai by itself is, especially on a character that lacks a steroid, is not an efficient delivery system. You add a little bit of attack speed, 15% on the Crusher. Now the Crusher is the bridge item, enabling both to work. I see it. I'm starting to like it.
Paul Demon getting low. In comes Maniac looking for the steal, but the Ox is too late. And now the Ox could be in trouble. He has to ult early on. Worried about the knockup coming out from Callus there. Free pick for Rival. 11-3. Paul Demon their way.
Oh, look at Maniac. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't confused. I did that once, though.
I've done it. We all do it, man. Those clones, man, they're OP. Even Morrigan does it to me where I'm like, Callus blink ulties. Callus ult. Wait, that's not Callus. Yeah. That's another Geb. You just get so used to saying the player name and not the god name. You can slip down that hole sometimes.
Yeah, I do a little bit of both, which is what we're seeing out of that Chiron build. Little
bit of everything. Meanwhile, Ataraxia's build, he's normally the more creative one, or the extreme one, as some people like to call it. Shifters into, oddly enough, Odysseus bow.
40% attack speed, just looking to swing for the fences. I mean, you have a lot of power built in with that Mark of the Golden Crow, a lot of the penetration built in with that Mark of the Golden Crow, so you got some options.
I mean, it helps with wave clear, I guess, to hold your ricochet.
Sure.
And I guess it's a lot more damage in team fights because you're just going to be able to electrify a little bit more and bounce those shots off. But now he's gone to Executioner too, so a bit more penetration in this build. As you said, like he only had it on Mark of the Crow at first, but he'll start swinging a little bit more now. Very, very unique builds from the two Hunters, I'll say. I'm not sure if I'm clean with either of them right now.
I actually, I don't mind either of them, to be honest with you. I think the Crusher kind of brings everything back into it. I would have preferred to see the Crusher earlier than the Chinsai. And normally what I say here is, well, you know, clearly was going for the other, but it's in a different tree.
Sure.
Usually we see them go for Executioner, and I backed and had a zillion gold. So I went Chins, why not? But he specifically went Chins before the Crusher. But we're mincing hairs here. At the end of the day, the full build, looking at these 4 items, I approve.
Firegiant already down to half health. Maniac first one in, and Callus will bop him in the face and Cataclysm early on. They've got to invest into Maniac here if they can. But the Sun Cloud is available, but he doesn't use it just yet. Just Obey will fall back and force Rival to reset the Fire Giant, so the regeneration starts up.
Yeah, it's a little premature there. I don't think you can really go for Fire Giant with Obey 5 men up. I know Team Rival have a little bit of a lead here. Talk about 8K or so.
And that
6K?
6 to 8K is quite a lot, though, right?
Even still, it's not something you can't just fight into Obey with a 6K lead.
Well, it looks like Rival still want to fight, though. They're trying to bait Obey in a little bit more if they can do. Just hanging around this Fire Giant a little bit more. Obey not really taking the bait, however. They're just busy off farming. Red buff already taken down. A Millsy Prime around here with Maniac. They feel comfortable, but maybe they're a little bit too comfortable because this gap's opening up a little bit more for the Fire Giant to be started again.
A little bit, but this is a perfect spot. This is the 6K deficit you want to be at if you're Obey. The ultimate's coming down from Wolfie. Oh, I see what he did. He dropped the Suns to make Obey think that it's a full commit, but it's just Wolfie's Suns.
Well, I don't know, because Wolfie's Suns are now down, and Wolfie gets slashed on by Twig, and Twig will take not Wolfie to the sky, but the other damage dealer in Voe. The Vulcan ult came in, but the Aegis was good. Voe's still in trouble at the back, trying to get away from Maniac. Meanwhile, the fight's still good on the other side.
Team Rival put this play into motion themselves. I don't think it was a good idea, but Vote, beautiful play by the support. Kalis coming through in the clutch.
Pretty Prime will pick up Deathwalker as that fight goes down, so it was only solo for solo in the whole exchange. But my God, I think the call from Vote was like, hey, guys, I've taken all this, and I kind of need help now. And Kalis like, oh, really? Well, let me give you a hand.
Wolfie dropped those Suns so early. The Fire Giant was at 90+%. That was the bait. Obey took the bait. I don't think Team Rival were in as advantageous a position as they thought.
Do you know what? I don't think it was a bait. I actually think the call may have been...
Drop the ult at 100%?
Well, I thought they were going to potentially double drop damage and just get as much damage out as possible.
There's no other ultimate like that on the side.
I think it was really early. I can't see it as a bait, that's the thing. Maybe it was just like he turned early, there wasn't a fight, so he was like, well, I might as well just use it here.
Here's the thing, I'm calling it a bait because it was either a bait or just a misclick or an awful play.
I'm sure we'll find out. At some point, maybe...
Like that, I'm here trying to find the thought process.
The nice.
Not even the nice. Because these are high-level players.
Sure.
You don't do things, just because I felt like it. So the thought had to have been a bait.
Hang on a second. I know a lot of these pro players, okay? And most of them will actually respond with, I just felt like it.
That's completely and utterly fair.
So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolfie comes out and goes, you know what? I clicked on Ho Yi early.
Yeah.
No one was in range. I was about to come out my ult anyway, because he did just at the end of that, if you saw. So maybe
that's a mistake.
Sure.
I'm down for mistake. I'm not down for, I just felt like making it rain.
Sure. That's true indeed. Gold Fury, though, is available, and Fire Giant still stands, but with the Gold Fury respawning, attention turns there from Rival once again. After getting this last two, the last one they stole, just mind you, it's now giving them the lead where their zone duty is a lot better than that Obey put on earlier on.
That Gold Fury should not have gone that easy. Captain Twig understands that, trying to stop it, but Team Rival got that way too easy. The situation before at the Fire Giant, that was a big deal. It was a 6,000 gold lead, and I started to talk about why it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yep.
Everybody on Obey, you had 50 stacks on the Doom Orb, you have the Executioner finished on the Hunter. The 6,000 difference in between Obey and Rival, the key items on Obey were already there. So that 6,000 gold at this point was a lot different. That's why Obey could fight into that team fight relatively easily. Rival kind of overestimated their 6,000 because at that moment, it wasn't that much of a big deal.
And now you can see that lead now, 7,000, 6,000 experience in favor of Rival. Especially after game one, this is so much better from Rival. It was 10-minute surrender that Obey trounced them, is basically the only way you can really put it. But this game is a different story. It's Obey on the back foot, who, let's be fair to Obey, they're fighting back in very well, but Rival had not really given up much.
Oh, not at all. I mean, Obey are a top-end team. We obviously know that. And so Rival have just been a really steady force here trying to defend what they've been able to get. And with cheeky plays like that Gold Fury, that's what's going to allow them to find the W.
Win or lose here for Rival. This is a good game to tell them how to deal with it. More experienced teams, you know? Oh, Portal Demon stolen. Maniac gets in, strips it away with a Jingu Bang. Rival are just standing there in a circle going, all right, who messed up?
That has to happen. But Team Rival make that play because... conditioning your opponent's a big deal, whether it's positive or negative. Obey told Rival, we're going to let you get objectives without coming through. We're just going to let this happen.
Split push, support Athena. Talk to me about this. I love it.
Really?
it just draws somebody over for the sake of it. You're a support anyway. What are you going to do? Kill me? I'm Athena.
Here's the deal. Here's the big deal, though. Watch this. Athena going to join the fight on the right-hand side. But Lona, she can do the same thing because of the teleport. Wonderful play, but how's it going to pan out?
Well, the padding is not working out well as Callus will juke out the ultimate just in time. He was in a danger spot. Wolfie too, but he's going to stealth away. Maniac can't find the Jingu Bang who's after, and once Deathwalker turns up, Obey have to fall back. So in the end, it's a washed fight. Yeah,
the plan from Emilzy was the same as the plan from Deathwalker. Okay, you're going to distract me on the other side of the fence. I'll go over there too. Ooh. We'll both teleport there. I'll see you later.
I'll tell you what, I have a feeling Obey were thinking about going through that portal. Emilzy and Ataraxia were kind of lined up to go through it, and then the portal closed. And I think that was wise that the portal closed because Deathwalker and Vote were both waiting on the other side in a good position.
Now you're giving credit where it's not due. Wise that the portal closed? Lucky.
I said it was lucky. I said it was lucky. I said, I'll tell you what, lucky that portal closed, okay. I think.
I thought you said it was wise.
No, I didn't say it was good decision, Portal Demon closing, to stay on Obey's side after having the portal do it.
Great job, buddy.
Ice Baby going to meet Emilzy. Emilzy, as I said a bit earlier on, is tanky, but I love the distractions Obey are trying to cause here. They're trying to just like get their way back into it by getting some objectives like the tier 2 without being punished too heavily by things like this Fire Giant.
Even still, Team Rival certainly winning in the objective field. 3 Gold Furies, and the Portal Demon stolen away. Once Emilzy in trouble.
CC chain is good, but not good enough to pick up the support. And now that was 2 ultimates invested, make that 3. But can Obey turn that around, knowing their support is dead?
Now the team fight split up. Wolfie below to ult on 3 players left side. Maniac being chased out by the jungler. Blink over the wall from Callus.
And it was good from Callus, but there's no further follow-up because meanwhile on the right-hand side, Baby and Maniac still fighting away. Good damage over the wall, though, from that training exercise damage coming out from Vote. Same skillful shot.
I prefer that play from Callus. His team's looking for the disengage. Yep. Whether his team knew it or not, Callus was looking for the disengage. Respect the call, the support. That was I like that call. That's a nice one.
Solid game from the dual lane of Rival here. 3-0 and 3 and 1-0 and 9 respectively for the support and Hunter from Rival, who, let's be fair, they're 2 names that generally get overlooked a lot on this squad.
Yeah, that's very true. There's a lot of different star power on the side of Rival, which was kind of a base scenario, right? Yeah. There's a lot of star power here. Yep. But Ataraxia, our guy, our Hunter, look at his build. So the Shifter Shield is just mid-game power. But this is what I mean when I'm talking about you need items to support your Chinsai. 40% attack speed on the Odysseus Bow, additional attack speed on the Executioner. So now when your Chinsai is chipping away at the opponent's HP per shot, you're shooting more shots.
And never at any point to go into crit against a Geb, and not just one Geb, but potentially 2 at moments, which we've seen out of Wolfie. Meanwhile, though, Fire Giant Obey get a chance to actually get some ward pressure here as Rival floated towards the mid lane to pressure there instead. Gets answered back immediately, but the main news is Maniac got some deep wards down near the fire.
Team Rival across the way, grouping up as 5 in the mid lane.
Can they commit under the tower here with the blink engage from Callus again, do you reckon? Is that a possibility?
Can they? Absolutely.
I mean, they can. Is it worthwhile? That's a better question.
That is a better question.
You don't know.
It's very curious, and that's exactly what Team Rival is showing.
I love Ataraxia trying to keep him in combat, so is Maniac keeping Callus at bay. Meanwhile, that forces Deathwalker to commit for a second, buying a window for Callus, but once again, Maniac's going to get hit by the Tiger onto Callus to keep him in combat.
And this was the wonderful play. You and I were sitting here kind of waffling over if Captain Twig was going to miss the ult and call the team fight.
But it wasn't a Deathwalker, which I don't know if is the correct target overall, but it looked like that's a target Obey were happy to take at the moment. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen Twig commit. In the end, Rival disengage.
So you and I sat here waffling over, is this a good idea to really jump on the tower?
Yeah.
Every second, and Team Rival were doing the same, every second that they spend thinking about it, Obey's throwing a ring, tossing a meatball, and because Team Rival sat there for too long, they just have to retreat because Obey poked them out.
Do you reckon Ataraxia actually went Odibo to deal with some of these blink engages? Because once you're in combat, you can't blink. It's a very, very, like, it's really out there to do that all for one item, but it could have been one of the extra reasons why I picked this up.
If it wasn't Nate, if it wasn't Ataraxia, I'd say no. Yes.
Right.
But the Odysseus Bow is just one of his items these days. He loves the attack speed from it, and for good reason. Especially on Ho Yi, a character that has relatively low attack speed.
Very true, indeed. Well, Athena's going to go back to the left-hand side in the dual lane and look to split push. This time round, though, he will be met by potentially 2 as Ice Baby's going to come round. He shouldn't die here unless he makes a couple of mistakes. The dash is now down. He could always ult away if he really feels threatened. And Obey recognizing Ice Baby's on this side of the map with no teleport. Emilzy's trying to buy time to set Obey up at the Portal Demon.
That's the biggest difference. Obey get the Portal Demon here. Obey could not find it. Emilzy, or Obey could find it because of the Emilzy play.
Eagles rally on 3 from Deathwalker. Wolfie stuns him in place 2. The Suns cause a lot of problems from Obey, but my God, are they tanky.
Team Rival did that right the first time. They sent DW over with the teleport. This time they send Ice, who does not have it. They lose the objective, but the team fight's a different story.
Cataclysm twice come out from Carlos there. The snipes from Vote are good and causing issues for Emilzy and Prime. Meanwhile, in the sky, you saw Twig trying to cause a bit of disruption onto Wolfie. Wolfie's still alive. The ring toss isn't good enough. And in the end, Wolfie says, you know what? I am Bologna too. And I think that ultimate from the Hou-Yi Suns was exactly the same one as that Bologna roll. I'm just saying, because he could have saved that.
You're running out of it. So
he could have saved that for going to the Fire Giant for the team.
So the Suns, oops, I made a mistake.
We might not be out of this fight yet. Ice Baby, the Portal Demon going Obey's way, means that Ice is in trouble, but it was Prime who may be in trouble himself. Scratch that, it's Maniac who was trying to wrap around the back and support his mid laner. The Monkey Madness is over now. Deathwalker gets Maniac's life.
Oops, I made a mistake. That's exactly what Maniac's saying. Walking through the portal now. He's the tankiest character. If anybody's going to walk through the portal, it has to be him. But Obey Alliance, tough stuff here. Fire Giant down to 10%. Emilzy's the only one available. Looking for the throw. Can't find it. Fire Giant goes the way of Obey.
Obey stole the Fire Giant away. How did Prime manage to get the kill on the Fire Giant? Rival, though, will make sure Emilzy's in trouble. He has no ultimate available to escape this one. Obey get the Fire Giant off just the Prime.
Was it the reach?
No, it's Prime. Pretty Prime got the Fire Giant.
I thought he got it off the throw. I called it off of the throw.
Listen, the dream is that it's always the support that gets it. God, I missed those support steal days. So, Fire Giant being down and only Prime having it kind of slows down Rival for a minute. They still have a substantial lead in this game, though, and overall control of this game, but it bought Obey a couple more minutes, I feel.
That's the ideal stop. Team Rival had control. Obey brings the game to a standstill with the steal of the Fire Giant. Fantastic play by Emilzy's, dragging everybody's attention onto him. Pretty Prime, as you said, tosses it over the wall, gets the steal just like that. I mean, that was just strong team play, understanding the objective, a little bit of luck, and a lot of bit of planning.
And it's worked out well so far then for Obey to stay in this game, because Rival have pretty much ran this game for the most part. They made the correct decisions. They tried to exploit their lead early on and gathered that lead over time. Plus adding one Gold Fury steal, I'd say there's been a couple of mistakes at objectives today. I will say that both these EU teams will not be happy about.
I mean, that one is just strong stuff from Obey. You're going to zone out the Athena while she steals it with her reach.
Yep.
You didn't see the Vulcan. I guess that's the mistake there, but...
Keep eyes on. That's kind of your job. Keep eyes on your prizes, especially the ones that could steal it. And Athena's a little bit less likely to steal it than a Vulcan. Tier 1 on the left-hand side goes the way of Rival, and the Tier 2 now to be looked at. All Tier 2 still standing for Obey. And after the last couple of fights, I can see why they're happy to try and defend her.
Well, exactly. Obey, I mean, they have a Fire Giant. They're totally ready to stand still at a Tier 2 tower. They're down a little bit of gold, 8,000. As the game gets later and later, that gold matters less and less.
On Deathwalkers. Maniac goes to the backline to compete against 3, but Maniac gets a lot more damage than he expected to. He's forced to his cloud early. Now look at Callis. He just walked up and Cataclysm's 3, gets 2 sets of beads. As meanwhile, Maniac was still trying to regen. Twig goes in again, as does Ice Baby at the same time. The Vulcan ult is timed not to perfection this time. That was overcooked, and the fight still rages on.
Too soon, Executus, and Team Rival punishes for it. Vote kicks out Captain Twig. Down come the Suns, and that's going to keep Team Rival off of the tower, off of the players, not off of the tower.
Tier 2 falls down, so Rival get what they came for. They wanted the objectives, and they get just that. Well, only one kill in the fight, which was Twig. I think Maniac needs to probably revisit his options now, because I think that was the turning point. It was like, okay, I'm at that point now where they are making me squishy.
Sure. I mean, that's a successful play if Pretty Prime lines that up.
True.
That gets lined up 9 times out of 10, right?
Yeah.
Even the best players miss free throws, which is essentially what that setup is. It's a free kill. Obey dropped that, unfortunately.
Really? You think he should, I guess at the highest level of play, it should be a free throw?
Yes.
I think it was a 3-pointer more than alpha than
that.
It's a bit tricky.
Naja ult into a Vulcan ult.
Time and buffs to perfection can be a bit tricky in a team fight. A lot of abilities going off and hearing the element noise. Because you go off sound. A lot of these players will go off the sound.
Pretty Prime's quintessential character is Vulcan.
True.
Captain Twig's you know how many hours of how many times have they done that combo?
You're right. You're right.
I bet you when bring him to land, blindfold, not the Naja, blindfold the Vulcan, he still hits the shot.
If he's got sound.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying, like, in that team fight, there was a lot of sound in that team fight, which means he may have been thrown off by a...
Sure.
That's why I said it's a three-pointer, not for a free throw. Look at me talking basketball like I know what I'm doing.
Let's settle on a layup.
Going for... I don't even know what one of those is. Oh, I did. LeBron did one to himself. Left hand...
No.
Portal Demon... He did. I saw it. Portal Demon going to go the way of Rival here, so once again, they're going to control the Fire Giant option. But Fire Giant's not going to be available for another minute's time just yet, so Obey have time to wait this Portal Demon out and get themselves back in position.
What did the Hindu man say when he messed up the basketball terminology?
I don't know.
Alley-oops?
Alley-oops. Did I say alley-oop? Did I say alley-oop? Oh, well.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I said layup.
LeBron alley-ooped himself.
Right, I thought it was a layup for himself, but it was an alley-oop. Oh, well.
Oh,
to be fair,
man.
if that's the worst thing I ever say at broadcast, that's not too bad. I don't know the sport that well.
I mean, it's not like you said LeBron, Stone Cold, Steve LeBron.
He got a home run. I could have said that. But yeah, I could have brought Steve Harvey. The most dangerous.
Hey, you know what? Shouts to us though. The Score Esports actually picked that up in their their weekly, like they do a weekly esports podcast of like they 2 minutes of fails, right? They had some funny stuff from the Dota stage where like some guy tapped the other guy on the shoulder. And they had you and Taco with the Stone Cold Steve Harvey, and they're sitting there like, oh no, are they serious? They fast forward to the end where you call,
right?
Because Steve Harvey said so.
Okay.
It was great.
I've not watched that yet. I'll have to have a look. But they should just tune in every week with our broadcasters. You never know what you're going to get. Fire Giant started up by Rival now. 38 minutes, 41 seconds on the clock. 3 members of Rival on zone duty here, trying to slow it down. Fire Giant is going to be forced in the second. Eagles rally, Cataclysm combo, Vulcanal in response.
Wolfie Eagles rally on the left-hand side.
And that worked out well for him, but Ataraxia is under pressure. He's forced out to the left. The damage from Vote is insane right now. The penetration build he's put on is causing so many problems from Obey, as now Ice Ice is looking towards Twig.
Obey played that so intelligently. Team Rival create this giant area of plus protections thanks to the double Bologna ultimate, and Obey just eject so hard.
Round
Wonderful
2.
play.
Fire Giant at half health, and Millsy, Twig, first one's in. Callus will meet them and only knock up Twig. And Millsy's trying to get vision on, but they won't get vision in time. Rival will not have it taken.
Well, just very well done by Team Rival. I know I applauded Obey for backing out of that fight. Now, that's the right play, but it was just they played into Rival's hand. Rival put down the protection field, this Venn diagram of you shall not walk here. Obey walk away, and because Obey had to leave, Team Rival pick up the Fire Giant because there's no way that Obey can come back into it. They get double zoned. Team Rival take down the Fire Giant, leading this game by 10,000. What a nice sequence.
This build from Vote is just going to be so intrigued now with how it's going, because his damage has gone through the roof. Obviously, with the build that we saw, he started off with Trans into boots, chins, crusher, and then he's gone all the way back to Odysseus bow as his final item to finish off this build to give him that attack speed for the chins.
Well, so what it comes down to is ability-based hunters, if you generally look at who we call mid-game and who we call ability-based, there's a lot of overlap.
Sure.
And that's because your abilities have a cooldown.
They're going to cap out.
Exactly. Your abilities have a cooldown, and that's really where they cap out. They do a lot of damage, but you got to wait 8 seconds for another one, right?
Yep.
So that really maintains control in the mid game. Late game, it's all about these basics. I hit you 5 times, you fall over. That's why we see late game the Odibo come out, and that's why we see late game Chiron skyrocket to the top of the PD.
Well, let's see if Rival can continue this momentum they have here. 40 minutes in, 18-4. Last couple of teammates haven't resulted in a whole lot of kills because both have done very good job of surviving, if anything else. The damage has been pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of defensive prowess on both of these sides. Collison and Millsy obviously going to do a lot of peeling for their team. Wolfie, in addition, helping out Team Rival with extra whatever they need. So
this is working out well for Obey though, because they've got a couple of things on cooldown right now in terms of their relics. 2 sets of beads, I should say, are on cooldown, which are very important. Mainly Pretty Prime has both his relics down right now. Rival waiting this out a little bit longer than they probably should. If they recognize this, they would have committed by now.
Exactly. Rival probably aren't sure of those cooldowns. I would say in the middle of a team fight, it's a little bit difficult to really nail that one. But really what it comes down to is they know that they have the upper hand in this fight, and with or without relics, I think they can take the fight.
Well, they see Callus rolling. He is still hitting. Deathwalk is tanking up the Phoenix, however, as the minions are slowly coming in. Eagles rally. Juked out by Ataraxia with a leap. Frenzy is popped. That means go for Rival's point of view, but they have to fall back because of the suns from Ataraxia. Vote will take out Twig as Twig was running towards him to pick up the kill. Won't find it. Maniac, meanwhile, has already used the Monkey Cloud, and now he'll have to use the Fountain too.
Vote Wolfie Ice Ice baby. 1 kill, 1 kill, 1 kill. Vote turns his into 2. That's the deicide. That's the game. Team Rival answer with the split.
I'll be honest, after I expected to see a very close set between these two today. I did not expect the results to be